What time is it?
It's time for art!
The first assignment in art for second and third graders is the perfect opportunity to go ahead and talk about the 7 elements of art and the basic principles of design. I'm finally going to talk about these posters. They've been hanging up in my room, and if you've asked me in kindergarten and first grade, what's the deal with this tinfoil guy, I am finally going to answer that question. The first thing we're going to do is take a piece of paper, fold it in half into 8 equal sections. You're probably wondering, there's 7 elements of art. Why do we have our paper divided into 8 sections? Great question. The first square, I want you to write down what the assignment is. The 7 elements of art, write your name and write your class code. After you do that, we are going to write line, L-I-N-E, in the first box. You can't do anything in the art room without lines. Line is the basic element that refers to the continuous movement of a point along a surface. You can either do that with a pencil or a brush or a marker. Anything that makes a mark makes a line. There are mathematical, geometric definitions of lines. We're not going to work on that right now. I'm not going to talk about rays or line segments. We're just talking about art lines. The edges of shapes and forms also create lines. Every 2-dimensional artwork starts with lines. Every line has a length, a thickness, and a direction. Next to line, I want you to write the word shape, S-H-A-P-E. Shapes can be geometric or organic. In landscapes, natural shapes such as trees contrast with geometric shapes such as houses. For our purposes, a shape is defined as an area that stands out from the space next to it or around it, either due to a defined or implied boundary. Or maybe it's because of differences of value, color, or texture. Artists can show depth in a flat picture by having shapes overlap each other. In the third square, I want you to write down color. Color, C-O-L-O-R. And we are just going to draw examples of color. Primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Secondary colors are what you get when you mix red and yellow together. You get orange. Yellow and blue make green. Blue and red make purple. Orange, green, and purple are what we call secondary colors. Neutral colors are your black and white and your grays. Warm colors are colors that remind you of things that are warm. Your reds, your oranges, and your yellows. Cool colors are colors that remind you of things that are cool. Those are your greens, your blues, and your purples. Texture, T-E-X-T-U-R-E. Underneath the 7 elements of art, I want you to draw 3 circles. We are going to draw 3 different textures in there. Texture is the surface quality of an object. In art, there's 2 types of textures, tactile and implied. Tactile texture is real texture. It's the way the surface of an object actually feels. Sandpaper is sandy, cotton balls are soft and fluffy, tree bark is bumpy and sometimes sharp. Implied texture is the way the surface of an object looks like it feels. Here I am touching my texture poster. If I close my eyes, it just feels like laminated paper. It's smooth, and every texture on this poster feels the same. But if I close my eyes and feel my hair, and feel my skin, and feel my shirt, and the bottom of my shoes, all of those textures feel different because they're tactile. What I want you to do in these 3 circles, we're going to draw a scaly texture together. We are going to draw a fuzzy texture together. And we are going to draw a melty or slimy texture together. And these are strictly implied textures. Value, V-A-L-U-E. Value is the element of art that refers to the relationship between the lightness and darkness of a color. It gives objects form. Value is also referred to as tone. I want you to pick one color, crayon, and I want you to color really hard on one side And then as you get to the top, ease up on the pressure till you make a light version of that color. And that is a good way to make a value scale. Space, S-P-A-C-E. Space on a flat picture is usually just length and width. And space, like in a room with volume, is length, width, and height. In a flat picture, space includes the background, the foreground, and the middle ground. There are two types of space in art, and I'm not talking about outer space. I'm talking about positive and negative space. Positive space is the shape, the space of what the picture is about. Negative space is all the other area around it. A good example of this is this painting of birds on a telephone wire. They are black, like outer space, but that's not the space we're talking about. But if I showed you that picture and asked you, what is this picture about? You would say, oh, those are birds on a telephone pole. You wouldn't say, oh, that's a blue sky with the shape of birds in front of it. No. The birds on the wire is what the picture's about. And the blue sky behind it, above it, in between all those shapes, that is the negative space. What I want you to do is color in the background one color. And then we are going to draw a tree in front of that so it looks kind of like the silhouette of a tree in a sunset. I want you to understand that the silhouette of the tree is what the picture's about. That's the positive space. And the background color of the sky, that's the negative space. Form, F-O-R-M. Form is a three-dimensional object. I hate seeing posters that say form and it has a picture of a sculpture. A picture of a sculpture is not the best representation of form. That is why Tinfoil Man is up there. It does not weigh a lot. I could have glued anything up on that poster that is three-dimensional. I could have glued my shoe, I could have glued a chair, I could have glued a marker or a water bottle, but no, I made a tinfoil man because the tinfoil man, it's enhanced by texture, it reflects light and shows form very easily. I can measure how tall it is, about 18 inches. I can measure how wide it is, about 10 inches wide, and I can measure the depth. I can measure how far out of the wall he is sticking, and that is about 3 inches. So what I'm going to do for form is just give you a little tinfoil man or a little anything that's three-dimensional, and we're just going to glue that on our picture. I'm going to have to talk about the principles of design on another day. Okay, that's it for this week. See you later. Bye. Here we are, back for another pro tip. I'm trying to work on the design for the 2021 mural, but I don't want to tell you what it is. I want to see how quickly you can guess what you think it is. I started using a light blue pencil last time to just kind of like make construction lines and build the shapes of the characters. And now I'm going back with a pencil and adding details. And then my next step will be to finalize the details with an ink pen. Have you guessed what it is yet? Here's a clue. Past murals include the Leprechaun Marching Band, which represents music. Sports leprechauns, which represents PE. Reading and writing happening on the Media Center. Last year was math and science. So what subject is missing? Yep, you guessed it. Little artist leprechauns painting a mural. Tune in for your next assignment, and for that pro tip, you can watch me add details with an ink pen. Stay tuned for your chance to earn bonus points, and I'll see you later. Bye. Bonus points! Second and third grade, I want you to look up how many principles of design are there. Look that up, let me know, talk to you later.